Welcome to the White Knight Theater. The bloodstains on the socks are not the product of natural physical phenomena, but rather the result of human intervention. So, how are we supposed to interpret your non-procedural actions? Is it just bad luck for Simpson? Is the Los Angeles Police Department's mishandling of evidence due to negligence or an attempt to frame someone? At this point, the issue of racial discrimination can no longer be ignored. Dr. Lee and Sam have ultimately made the most unfavorable forensic judgment for the prosecution. How will the famous African-American prosecutor and the civil rights lawyer proceed from here? I believe that no one in this courtroom would intentionally introduce racial factors into this case, unless they are inherently present. The situation is on the brink of a major conflict. Your Honor, I believe the use of the word nigger is an extreme insult. It is a filthy and derogatory term that I would never allow in my home. I believe Mr. Johnny Cochran feels the same way. This word represents extreme prejudice and offense. It is the most despicable, dirty, and vile term. There is no place for it in this case or in this courtroom. This term can only serve one purpose. It will enrage our African American jurors and put them to a test of which side you will stand on. The side of the white prosecutors and white police officers, or the side of the African American defendant and his renowned African American lawyer. The defense attorney's intention is merely to stir up the emotions of the jury. The word nigger will affect the jury's judgment, making them blind and agitated, weakening their ability to discern the facts, and making it difficult for them to render a fair verdict. This word has no place in our courtroom. Therefore, the prosecution strongly requests that the court, out of respect, prohibit any questioning of witnesses regarding the use of this derogatory term during the trial. What are you even talking about? Is it you? To the audience watching on television, Darden's remarks have instantly ignited the emotions of viewers nationwide. In the United States, the word nigger is a derogatory term used by other races to insult African Americans. This word originated from the 17th century during the colonial period in Africa when slave owners referred to black laborers as black things. It is a term rooted in the painful history of African Americans. The only African American president of the United States, Barack Obama, once had to formally explain on television after using this word in a public interview. This shows the immense power and offensiveness of this word. On the other hand, the term nigger epitomizes the unresolved racial issues that have persisted in American history. It is an extremely sensitive and forbidden topic in the United States. Therefore, the ordinary people watching the live broadcast across the country were in an uproar when Darden publicly discussed this word. However, African Americans and white people had completely different reactions to Darden's remarks. In an office, a heated argument broke out between a black woman and a white man. Does Darden know what he's talking about? What? Only white people like you would ask that. Is this why they brought Darden on board? To use a black man to humiliate black people. How can you interpret it that way? He does have a point. The word is indeed inappropriate for a courtroom setting. Your skin color means you can never truly understand our pain. I'm saying that I also detest that word. It's a terrible term. I only agree with Darden on this point. You're not black, so you don't understand the crux of Darden's statement. The core message is that once the defense team or a witness utters the word nigger in court, the black jurors will lose their rationality. It's an insult to our intelligence. After several weeks of trial, it became clear that the O.J. Simpson case seemed to be spiraling out of control, shifting from a trial of Simpson to a trial of the Los Angeles Police Department. It further evolved into an accounting of the LAPD's inadequate handling of racial issues over the years, including the Rodney King incident a few years earlier. Darden was well aware of the history of Los Angeles. He had worked in a special investigative unit of the prosecution, responsible for investigating cases of police brutality, the vast majority of which involved African American victims. However, Darden's remarks indeed disregarded the feelings of his fellow African Americans, or rather, he underestimated the complex racial tensions reflected by the use of the word nigger. Many African American followers of the Simpson case regarded Darden as a traitor. They even coined a phrase, O.J. Simpson just has a white tongue. Darden has a white brain. White tongue. refers to O.J. Simpson's adoption of a white accent after becoming famous. White brain naturally implies that Darden's way of thinking is indistinguishable from that of white people. At this point, Darden faced immense pressure, especially in the courtroom, where his opponent was none other than Johnnie Cochran, the idol of African-American lawyers nationwide. After Darden's speech, you did not give him any face and immediately countered. "Your Honor, I did not plan to speak on this matter today, but if I do not take this opportunity to respond to my good friend, it would be a dereliction of duty." Darden's remarks this morning are perhaps the most shocking thing I have heard in my 32 years of practice. This statement can be considered self-abandonment. Therefore, I would like to apologize to all African Americans first. African Americans, including myself, live with derogatory terms, contemptuous looks, and rude treatment almost every day. However, to say that they lack rational judgment and will lose their sense of right and wrong upon hearing an insult is an absurd accusation. I am ashamed of the words Mr. Darden has spoken. In a civilized society, no one should defend those who use derogatory language. And I believe that no one in this courtroom would intentionally introduce racial factors into this case, unless they are inherently present. Johnnie and Darden's debate, broadcast live on television, quickly sparked intense discussions nationwide. After leaving the courtroom, both of you were immediately surrounded by swarms of media reporters. "Johnnie, what is your opinion on Mr. Darden's remarks in court just now?" Johnnie and I have known each other for many years, and we have always been good friends. I'm not attacking my own people. I am merely trying to tell him today, please do not feel inferior because of your skin color, and do not attack your own people without reason. On the contrary, he should take pride in his people because we are very important to this country. Mr. Pattison, would you like to say something? After this trial, in a public poll initiated by a media outlet, 76% of African Americans believe that Darden had not done his job properly and should apologize publicly to the African American community. Meanwhile, Johnnie once again received widespread acclaim, and his past interactions with Darden were also uncovered. In fact, referring to Darden as a good friend was not entirely sarcastic. The two had a long-standing relationship and had even helped each other before the Simpson case. A few years earlier, when there was a vacancy in the Special Prosecutions Division, Darden had sought Johnnie's help to lobby for the position. Johnnie had used his connections to assist Darden. Although, due to various circumstances, Darden did not ultimately get the position, their relationship was evident. It is worth noting that, in retrospect, that particular time coincided with Marcia entering the Special Prosecutions Division. The two had their most significant interaction before the Simpson case, which was also a case involving a black individual. In September 1991, in East Los Angeles, a series of robberies occurred. The police, based on a tip-off, identified a residence where they planned to search for a 27-year-old black youth who lived there. When he asked the police to produce a search warrant, the police left because they hadn't obtained one yet. Witnesses testified that the officers left in a huff, muttering, F***, this is such a hassle. 2 days later, at dawn, 10 riot police officers broke down the door of the young black man. In an instant, neighbors heard a burst of automatic gunfire. The young man was found lying face down in a pool of blood, wearing only a pair of shorts. He had been shot 28 times, all in the back. Being shot in the back is significant. It means the victim posed no threat to the police and was merely fleeing. For the police to open fire without being under threat is akin to murder. One shot would have been enough to convict them, let alone 28.